I would say my career in comedy probably began when I was actually a kid in kindergarten trying to protect my mom from hate crimes. She wore a hijab, a headscarf in the 1980s, back when that told people that you were Iranian and an enemy of the state. And I used to diffuse tension between her and racists that would come to her with questions like, "Why do you hate America?" by being like a cute, funny, distracting kid and saying things like, "Please tell her to buy me Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. She's not from here. She doesn't know that all the kids eat them." And they would get very distracted from their original thought. When I get angry, I get funny. This has just always been my jam. When I'm scared, I'm funny. I think that's how I got into comedy as a kid, you know? Just knowing that comedy is something that is a part of me, that at the end of the day, whether I'm bad at it or I'm good at it, it's what I do, and it's what I love. The scariest moment I've had in comedy was when I opened for Master Brani. He's like the Iranian patriarch, comedian of all Iranians. I remember watching him when I was a kid, and he gave me a 5-minute guest spot at this place called the Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco. It's 350 people, and I got the 10 o'clock spot. So I thought young crowd, I got this. I've been doing comedy at the bars. I've got my tight 5. It's gonna be so good. And the bouncer was like, "They're young and drunk. Here they come." And I bombed really hard. My sister said that it was uncomfortable to hear the word nipple in that crowd. I misread the crowd. They were not young and drunk. That was 4 girls. The rest of them were grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, cousins, and literally every Iranian family that exists in the Bay Area. Dead silent, complete crickets, plus scowls. That day in 2009, I quit. And for 3 months, I had every Iranian in the Bay Area come up to me during the Iranian New Year's month, which is March, Eid Shoma Mubarak, and say, "I saw you at Maz's show." "Why did you do that?" I was like, "Because I thought you would laugh, man. I thought you would laugh." Honestly, in that moment, I had a moment of reckoning because I suddenly realized, when I'm performing stand-up at the bar, it's about how fuckable or unfuckable you are, right? The first thing you have to speak to is the tension in the room that is guys watching you, wondering if you know how attractive or unattractive you are. And as a comedian, your ability to gauge tension is based off of, how quickly you assess that in the room. At a bar, that's what's going on. So there's that material that I could do at the bar as a young comic. Then as a Muslim woman, the questions that I would get were what do you think of Syria? What do you think of Afghanistan? What do you think of something really smart that I don't even know how to reiterate in this interview because I'm not that smart. I don't know that much about foreign policy. I'm a Muslim kid that played Super Mario Brothers and watched DuckTales. And I missed VH1 until I was 17. I had to do a lot of research. So there was no place for me. And then on top of that, here I was with my Iranian community and I couldn't even connect with them. And I just thought, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I just can't do this. And that was a really scary moment for me. I thought I could quit. And then I got a really great piece of advice from W. Kamau Bell, who was my director at the time. I was working on a one-person show. And he said, "If you can do anything else, you should do it. You can't quit comedy. You don't choose comedy, it chooses you. But if there was one piece of advice I would give you, it's don't tell people that you quit because it's really embarrassing when you come back." A major moment for me was when I met Tracy Van Slyke and Bridget Antoinette Evans of the Pop Culture Collaborative. The Pop Culture Collaborative is a philanthropic fund and a learning community that works at the intersection of social justice and Hollywood, bridging that gap. And they asked me about my experiences in comedy and gave me a fellowship on comedy for social change. One of the things that inspires me to continue doing comedy with today's social climate is this phenomenon I keep seeing of so many young Muslims having to speak on behalf of all Muslims, and also so many people of color in that position where we kind of have to speak on behalf of our communities as an authority when really all we're looking to do is tell our own individual stories.